Hey, today we're looking at Directing Actors by Judith Weston. Um, it's a book about directing actors, how actors think, how to give directions, uh, script summaries, script analysis. Um, it's a very, very good book. I got a recommendation from the Cinematography podcast. It's If you're into podcasts, it's like the best thing ever. Um, yeah, it's not too big. So it's a quite fast read. It's very well written. You're just gonna fly through it. But anyway, today I wanted to do a little summary of the book, take some notes on it, um, blabber about it for a bit. I know a couple of my friends. I will definitely enjoy it. I'm not per se a director myself. I'm more of a camera guy. Um, Judith says in her introduction herself that if you're on a film set, um, there's a lot of stuff happening. Um, and when it comes to the actual performance, when an actor has to step up and, say his lines and stuff like that, like it's often thought that, uh, oh, that they have it kind of easy, or, you know, this book has showed me what a good director might look like, and now I have much more respect for what actors do, as well as what directors do. So Judith starts the book in a sort of not chronological order of how things would happen as a director. For example, when you're a director, like you get the script, you do a breakdown of the script, you do casting, um, and then you get onto set, you do rehearsals, and then you get to set, and then you actually direct. But in the book, Judith starts with directing, and then moves on to the very beginning kind of the process. I think she does this on purpose because like this is probably the most important part of the book. Judith starts off with showing us three types of directions that are given to actors. Those can be result oriented directions, some can be general directions, and those can be specific playable directions. Playable directions is what we're most interested in. So we've got the five tools to shape a performance. We got the verbs, facts, images, events, and physical tasks. So verbs describe an experience rather than a conclusion about an experience. Not all verbs are helpful, such as to like, to resent, or to fear, are no more helpful than adjectives. The helpful types of verbs are action verbs. It's a transitive verb. It takes an object, something you do to someone else. For example, to deflate someone, to attack someone, to preach, to teach, to flirt. Now, number two is facts. Facts are like the backstory of the character. Whether it's in the script or not, an actor is playing something or he's asking you a question, you might remind him, oh, this character in their childhood, they struggled with this and this happened. And this will inform an actor how how to perform. For example, instead of saying the character is a bitch, there's a backstory that shows it. It's kind of a repeating theme that it's better to, instead of telling an actor what to do, you kind of show. Now, number three is images. It's quite deceptive because it's what Judith means is actually the five senses. So the smell, the sight, the touch. A good example in the book is um, an actor is playing something, and you might say to an actor, "Okay, but you're playing this again," and imagine that while this thing is happening, you smell like the fresh bread or freshly cut grass. Um, it's that kind of thing. That's what Judith means by images. Number four is events. So events are not the same as plot or incidents, but are more like emotional events, such as a fight, a negotiation, or a seduction. Telling actors that the scene is about a fight between two people who used to love each other can help them rally the personal and imaginative resources they need to create poignancy you're looking for. We don't want to indicate the event, we want it to happen in the here and now. Let the audience in on it. A director needs to be on the lookout for the fake confrontation, the cliche apology, or the movie love scene. And number 5, physical tasks. So a physical task during a scene might help if an actor is concentrating too much on the lines or it seems too stiff. There's an example where there was a scene in the kitchen and the director asked the actor to, while he's delivering his lines, to go to the fridge and open it, and the fridge is supposed to get stuck. And that helped relax the actor and deliver the lines better. It's a good idea to be suspicious of adjectives and adverbs, even to avoid them altogether. Likewise, explanations, emotional maps, psychologizing have all the bad attributes of adjectives: glib, subjective, static, superficial, intellectualizing, and categorizing. And besides, are too logical to that on. They're not creative. Lawyers and accountants should explain things. Artists are here to suggest, illuminate, juxtapose, and let the audience draw their own conclusions. Now, directors are not the only ones who give actors result directions, which is the bad type of direction which you want to avoid. Actors do it to themselves. For example, an actor might ask you, "What's the character like? Do you want me to pump it up?" They are playing the result, which is bad. Don't be discouraged. Have faith. Don't let your ideas be reduced to its lowest common denominator. When the actor asks you a question, even if he asks for an adjective, answer with a fact, verb, image, an event, or a physical task, which is one of the 5 tools that we described above, or even a question. Sometimes the best way to direct is not by giving any direction at all. You think these characters have ever pulled off robbery before? Do you think he wants to pick a fight, or is he hoping she will stay calm? Sometimes "I don't know" is the smartest thing to say. Very smart directors tell an actor, "I don't know," even when they do know. John Cassavetes was like that, notorious for refusing to tell actors how to play their roles. He wanted actors to find the character themselves, to make him their own. Only that fresh, unguarded, and emotional, honest work. Now, Judith says further that even when you say you don't know, you might sometimes actually know, but you're giving the actor, you're not giving it to the actor because you want the actor to find it themselves. Now we're moving into kind of story analysis area here. So Judith talks about a spine. A spine is an objective, an intention, and a verb are all expressions of what the character needs. The character's spine or super objective is what he wants during the whole script. You could call it what he wants out of life. It is the one specific thing that a character needs more than any other, will sacrifice the most to have. Sometimes people call it the character's life need. You may also hear it called his core, his through line, his want, the red thread, the thing that drives him, what he's fighting for, what is important to him. It's important to find the spine in the character for each character when you're reading the script. A good actor, when reading a script, looks, among other things, for the playable spine. When he finds a believable spine, he knows that a real character has been written, not a botched up plot manipulation. So we got an example. In The Last Tango in Paris, even though... Let's hope this is Brando. Character in each scene with Maria has the objective to push her away, or to hurt or humiliate her. It seems that his spine is to find love. The pushing away is a series of tests to see if he can trust her. Her scene-by-scene objective. Now, this is a new term that's being introduced, scene objective. Each scene, for the most part, has one objective for each character. And we're going to talk about it later. On the other hand, is to get his affection, to get closer. And yet the spine of her character is not love, but to grow up, to become an adult. She must draw him closer in order to overthrow him, the father figure. The moment when he gives up testing and surrender to hers at the tango parlor is the same moment that she gathers the strength to reject him. Those are the moments of their transformation. The most playable objectives are both a physical and emotional component. So now we're talking about the scene objectives. An inclination towards having some effect on the other person leads to engagement. Objectives make possible conflict and a sense of event in the relationship, because the actors are doing something to each other rather than doing something to the lines. So, for example, if the objective is to be forgiven, and the other actor has a line in the scene, and she says, "I forgive you," if he makes his objective to hear her say she forgives him, he doesn't have enough to do. And you want to remember, a scene objective should have an emotional aspect to it as well as a physical aspect to it. So she will say the line no matter what he does, right? So to keep his objective alive, he needs to keep his concentration on something physical, such as her eyes or body language. That's where one really experiences forgiveness, not in mere words. By having a strong scene objective, it encourages actors to play off each other, to listen, to pay attention. Because although they're delivering lines, he's looking for that forgiveness in her eyes, and that's what he's playing for. Okay, so we got a couple more examples here. Instead of get him to acknowledge you as an objective, try an objective, get him to look you in the eyes. Instead of get her sympathy, consider get her to put her arms around you. It's physical and it's emotional. There are big sections in the book which show you what actors have to deal with, how actors can also struggle with things, and it's massive. It's massive. But my TLDR of it is don't be a dick. Actors are people too. But I would highly recommend that you read that section yourself, because it's a massive insight to what actors struggle with and how they think, sort of. Script analysis. For me, this section is very interesting. You'll see later. Don't be distracted by stage directions. Concentrate on relationships. Replace adjectives with verbs, images, facts, events, and physical life. Know what the movie is about, who the characters are, and be able to back up your ideas with evidence. Have alternatives in case your favorite ideas don't work. Keep rereading the script and rethinking and deepening your ideas. The directions that I think most actors respond to best are the ones that show insight. Directing is an adaptation of a script. Now, Judith provides many, like 6 or 7 different tables that are there to help you understand the script or kind of discover the script. For example, one of the tables would be your first impressions, and you got tables for everything. But actually, at the end of the chapter of script analysis, Judith kind of says, take those notes, use the tables, study the script. But at the end, she kind of says, make the notes and then burn the notes. So my kind of takeaway is be prepared and make preparations, but also be ready to just let go and be in the moment. And this kind of applies to the whole book. At the beginning, Judith talks about the 5 tools to shape your performance, and that avoiding result-oriented direction and general directions. But later on, she says that sometimes they work and sometimes it's okay to use them. So a lot of the things in this book are like that. Oh, let's come back to script analysis. So you should adapt a lot of the stage directions that are given by the writer. So directions that describe the character's inner life, adjectives, adverbs, indications of transitions, or psychological explanations or emotional maps. They are not playable. The writer is leaving guideposts to provide subtext. It can be useful to keep those to yourself and compare if you're getting something as good as on the day as the author suggested, but it is the director's and actor's job to create the subworld. Directions that depict blocking or business with no plot consequences. She struggled with her code. It's a shorthand suggesting the inner life of the character, a variation of the point above. In addition to finding subtext, finding movement and activities that physicalize the emotional events of the script is exactly what the director does. Directions that give us characters' personal objects. Cross them out, but keep a note of them. It can lead you to questions like what is the history of the strange photo, who bought it, and who placed it there. Directions that give us backstory facts. Keep a note of them and remove them from the script. If they're in the dialogue, keep them. Directions that give us an image. For example, the feather scene in Forrest Gump. It is a potential clue as to the themes of the movie. Directions that describe an emotional event. Those are events with plot consequences. Cross out the descriptive words, example, desperately. Also translate any psychologizing explanations. He cannot look away into emotional events. He does not look away. So this section is very interesting. In a way, you're taking in everything the writer is planning, and you're hiding some things um, to better perform as a director. Judith actually says, I don't think I have a note on this, um, that if there's like a, for example, you have like a result direction in the script, it's going to cause problems to the actor and to the director. Um, but you see that the director sometimes takes bits out, is aware of them, but takes them out to help the actor and to help themselves in directing it later. It's very interesting. There's a brief chapter on casting. When you're casting, you're looking for actor's ability. You're looking for intuitive equipment, for emotional range, flexibility, sensitivity, intelligence, an ability to listen, to work moment by moment, to be honest, to give herself inner freedom and privacy in public, to make the imaginative leap to a created reality. An ability to listen. There's actually long sections of the book talking about that. An actor needs to be in the moment and needs to be playing um, according to what his partner is playing. Um, Judith actually talks about this little test that she does sometimes in rehearsals, where she tells one of the actors to change the performance a little bit or a lot, and she watches the other actor and is paying attention if he's adapting his performance as well, because that shows that he's able to listen and that he's actually listening to the other actor and playing according to the other actor instead of just waiting to say his lines. Acting skills, an ability to play, a simple intention, to place against the obvious reading of a line, to create images, to be specific and insightful in his choices, to make transition cleanly, fully, and believably. Physical abilities, range, flexibility, expressivity, and skills in voice and movement. Artistic sensibility, taste, instinct, sense of humor, sense of proportion, heart, fearlessness, trust, commitment, emotional and physical stamina, a need to perform. Whether he is right for the part. Can he connect to the character's spine? Does he comprehend and connect to the character's experience and the transforming event in the character's life? Physical requirements for the law. But also be flexible with this. There's an example of a movie in which the casting required like a big, angry lady to be like I think she was like a teacher or something like that. But in the casting, they actually decided to go, I think, a smaller, kind of more professional looking lady, and it actually benefited the role more because she could play. She would be more menacing on screen than actually like this um, a more scary character. Whether you can work well together, and also casting the relationships as well as the roles. For rehearsals, you want to pick scenes that go somewhere, that have some transitions in them. Usually, stunts, nudity, or emotional breakdowns are not used on first readings, but it's up to you. If you're casting a role with no good audition scenes, it can be a good idea to use scenes from another script, maybe even a play. Rehearsal plan. Prepare your ideas of what the film is about, what it means to you personally. This can this will inspire uh, the crew, the spines and transformations of all the characters. For each particular scene, its facts, its images, and the questions it raises. What the scene is about, its emotional event, and how the scene fits in the arc of story of the script. Possibly through lines, including candidates for each character's objective and ideas for imaginative backstory adjustments. The beats of the scenes, beginning, middle, and end. Each beats subject and event and ideas, action verbs, adjustments, how you might work on each beat. The scene's physical life and its domestic events. Research you have done and research you have left to do. Your plan of attack, what you wish to accomplish in rehearsal, and what procedures you have in mind to follow. Also, blocking diagrams. Now, again, I would like to repeat that my takeaway from this book is be prepared, but also be ready to let go. Make notes, burn notes, do research, don't bring it with you to set. Like, it's directing is very this is what it means to be an artist. Be prepared, but also be ready to let go. It's my takeaways from Directing Actors by Judith Weston. What you're not getting from this summary is a lot more of examples of anecdotes, um, comparisons to plenty of films, and for those alone, it's it's a great idea to read the book so you can learn from other people's mistakes. That's why books are great. Thank you, and see you later.